Hey, what's up, Soapy? Uh, hmm, Nothing. I'm just doing a debut. I wonder if anyone else is gonna come. If there's gonna be more people coming, then I'm gonna be starting a presentation. Yeah, it is cool. So, do you want to see my bio, Soapy? Alright. Hello, my name is Polybloom, and I am a feather dragon. But I'm not. But I am not. Hmm, Something's missing here. Yeah, something got cut out here. It should be. It should say that I'm not in my complete form yet, but I will be soon. But Polly will just be Polly for now. So yeah, Polly is a scaly dragon with red and blue feathered wings. But I'm mostly in my human form because Polly wants to know humans more and become friends with them. Second slide. Species, feathered dragon. Gender, male. Favorite color, blue and pink. Hobbies, creating digital art and creating 3D modeling, playing video games. Holly's favorite movies TV show. Holly really loves watching horror and sci-fi movies. But I am currently getting into romantic movies too, both in anime and live action. And I think that's all of the slides. Oh, one more person came in. So, what do you guys want to know about me? Oh, Poisonlet, what's up? Welcome to my debut. Glad you're here. Awesome. Poisonlet is one of my childhood friends. He's cool. Hey, what's up, Chris? Chris. See? Oh, I'm now a VTuber now. Have you heard of them before? Yeah. Are you a long time subscriber of mine? It's been a very long time since I have uploaded something. So, what do you think? See, this is a new thing I'm doing now. Yeah, I used to be interested in making short videos a long, long time ago. And now I'm just interested in making VTubing videos. Well, Sophie, if you don't know, I used to make short horror movie videos years ago. It was pretty fun back then, but then I stopped. Well, this time this is gonna stick for real because I watch a lot of VTubers and it inspires me to do VTubing myself. A lot of Hollow Life VTubers inspire me. I really like Amelia Watson. She inspires me a lot. I really like her. Yes, Amelia is adorable. My elbow popped. So, is there anything else you wanna say to me? You guys wanna talk about? Hey, you can ask me any question if you guys like. Anything. Yeah, I'm going to tell scary stories and play video games and talk. I like Maple Story. I'm currently getting into PC games more now. I also like console games like Pikmin. in Animal Crossing. Hmm. I just thought it was an interesting show, and I like the character. She looks cute. Did you watch the animation I did years ago? The looping animation of Blaine going back and forth. See? There's a lame video where it just loops back and forth where she gets closer and farther, and it just loops back and forth. I think that's the one you saw. Yeah, that one's a pretty good animation too, but it just loops back and forth. Nope. It's all art. It's good. We have some music on here now. Oh, okay. I guess I'll try Stepmania. Oh, my bad. Sorry. I want to play Maple Story, but whenever it plays, it just goes all full screen, and I'm gonna need to find a way to not have it all full screen. Probably later. There. And I'm gonna have it in the right layer. Oh, I don't really work yet. Hmm. Gonna figure this out. Nice. There. Got it. is my first time playing this song, playing this game. It sounds like a cool song, but at the same time, it sounds very difficult. This might be too hard. I made it. Yeah, Paul is no good at this game. So how do I go back? Yeah, it's a hard game for me. I used to play a lot of rhythm games, but not that much anymore. Hey guys, I'm gonna try something. Yep, I did. I'll be right back. We are back. No. I'm not really sure how to stream MapleStory on this. Hmm. Ah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. See. A. So, what do you guys think of this stream so far? What do you think, Sophie? Sophie? I have stars all over my face. Your message don't appear. What message? What message did you try to send? See. Hey, Sophie, are you still here? Well, I think I'm about to end the stream soon. Thank you guys for watching my debut. Oh, okay. Hello. So, what do you think of this so far? Yeah, I'm excited also. I'm gonna be doing a lot of other stuff. Do you guys want me to read you a scary story? Oh, thank you, C. Let's go to creepypastas.com, see what type of creepypastas to read. Because that's the type of things I want to be doing in my channel. Famous creepypastas. Let's do famous creepypastas. Oh, no, I don't want to submit my own creepypastas. Let's read. No, that's a pretty long story. Then drown. Candle go. So, are you up? Are you guys up for a scary story? We could go for a long one. Dead Bart. Last episode. Last Simpsons episode. I'm gonna hydrate first before reading. Alright, I'm gonna start. Maybe I should put on some creepy music. Maybe some new music. Text alongside. Oh, okay. I'm not sure if I could do a text alongside. Alright, I'm just gonna read. I don't think I could get a copyright strike from playing new music as long as I give him credit. He's a cool guy. I met him in real life. Oh, probably not. Just gonna read it. Alright. Did you know how Fox has weird ways of counting down Simpsons episodes? They refuse to count a couple of them, making amount of episodes consistent. The reason for this is a lost episode from episode 1. Finding details about this missing episode is difficult. No one who was working on the show at the first time likes to talk about it. From what has been pieced together, the last episode of was written entirely by Matt Groening. During production the first season, Matt started to act strangely. He was very quiet, seems nervous and morbid. Mentioning this to anyone who was present results in them getting very angry and forbidding you to ever mentioning it to Matt. The, the episode's production number was 7G44. The title was Dead Bart. In addition to this, in addition to getting angry, asking anyone who was on the show about this will cause them to do everything they can to stop you from directly asking, directly communication with Matt Groening at a fan event and managed to follow him after he spoke to this crowd, and eventually had a chance to talk to him. Alone as he was leaving the building, he didn't seem upset that I had followed him, probably expected a typical encounter with the obsessive fan. When I mentioned the last episode though, all colors drained from his face and he started trembling. When I asked him if he could tell me any details, he sounded like he was on the verge of tears. He grabbed a piece of paper, wrote down something on it, and handed it to me. He begged me never to mention this episode again. The piece of paper had a website address on it. I would rather not say well what it was for the reason you'll see in a second. I entered the address into my browser and I came to a site that was completely black except for the lines of yellow text. A download link, I clicked on it and a file started downloading. Once the file was downloaded, my computer went crazy and the worst virus I had ever seen. System restored, I didn't work, the entire computer had to be rebooted. Before doing this, though, I copied the file into a CD. I tried to open it on my now empty computer, and as I suspect, there was an episode of Simpsons on it. So the episodes started out like any other episode, but they had very poor quality animation. If you've seen the original animation for Some Enchanted Evening, it was similar but less stable. The first act was very normal, but in a way the characters act a little off. Homer seemed angrier, Marge seemed depressed, Lisa seemed anxious. Bart seemed to have genuine anger and hatred for his parents. The episode was about Simpsons going on a plane trip. Near the end of the first act, the plane was taking Bart was floating around as you expect. However, as the plane was about 50 feet off the ground, Bart broke the window on the plane and was sucked out. In the beginning of the series, Matt had no idea that the animated style of The Simpsons world represented life, and that death turns things more realistic. This was used in this episode. The picture of Bart's corpse was barely recognizable. They took full advantage of it not having to move and made it an almost photorealistic drawing of his dead body. Act 1 ended with the shot of Bart's corpse. When Act 2 started, Homer, Marge, Lisa were sitting at the table crying. The crying went on and on. They got more pained and sounded more realistic, better acting than you would think possible. The animation started to decay even more as they cried, and you could hear murmuring in the background. The crying went on for all of the Act 2. Act 3 opened with the title card saying, "1 year has passed." Homer, Marge, and Lisa were skeletally thin and still sitting on the table. There was no sign of Maggie or the pets. They decided to visit Bart's grave. Springfield was completely deserted. And as they walked to the cemetery, the houses became more and more decrepit. They all looked abandoned when they got to the grave. Bart's body was just lying in front of his tombstone, looking like it did at the end of Act 1. The family started crying again. Eventually they stopped and just started stared at Bart's body. The camera zoomed in on Homer's face. According to summaries, Homer tells a joke at this part, but it wasn't audible in this version I saw. You can't tell what Homer is saying. The view zoomed out into the episode came to a close. The tombstone in the background had the name of every Simpson guest star on them. Some of them that have one had heard in night, some of them that no one had heard of in 1989. Some that haven't been on the show yet. All of them had death dates on them for guests who died since, like Michael Jackson and George Harrison. The death dates were when they died. They would die. Who knows? Yeah, it's a creepypasta. It could be real. Could be real. He could try to use the tombstones to predict the deaths of living Simpsons guest stars, but there's something odd about the most of the ones that haven't died yet. All of their death dates are listed as the same date. And that is the end of the story. Do you guys want to listen to another story? There's a lot of good stories out there I want to read to you guys. Maybe I'll just hit another 1 hour mark, then we'll be done. It's a lost episode creepypasta. It's fictional. Yeah, I'm enjoying this. Let's read another one. Yeah, it is sad, morbid. Let's read 1999. It's a pretty long creepypasta. I'm gonna hydrate extra for this one because it's a long one. I want to play music, but I don't want any. Yes. Alright, this is good. The year is 1999. The sentence, this sentence brings me back to my senior kindergarten class. When I was 5 years old, there we used to read out the date of the blackboard every single day. The year 1999 exists in a stain in my mind, however, as a memory that will not go away no matter how I tried to forget it. 1999 marks the year I lost my first tooth, my first time on a plane, and unfortunately, the early loss of my childhood innocence. One memory that refuses to be wiped is it all starts with the new or old TV app. At the time, Pokemon was the latest fad to start the school. Pokemon cards, games, stickers, and the most popular TV show. So, of course, every time I came home from school, I would stay glued to the TV until Pokemon came on at 5. The only problem was that my dad watched the news at 5:30, and Pokemon episodes were back to back, which meant I had to miss episodes every day. Something I whined on and on about. My dad got tired of hearing me complain every day. That must be why he went and bought another TV. My dad put the TV he bought in my room. Unfortunately, it was just an old small boob tube, which with rugged ears even. Those also only had 20 channels available, not including the channel Pokemon was on. I recall I didn't care though. It was just I was just thrilled I had my own TV in my room. After surfing through the channels, I came to the conclusion that only channel 2 TVO Kids was worth watching, so I watched that for a while. It wasn't for another few months until I discovered Channel 21 one day in April. I was flipping through the channel trying to see if Pokemon was on. I pressed channel 21 into the remote, hoping there were more channels, and my delight there was. My dad was surprised too, but he let me watch it because it seemed to have kids programs on it. The channels was called Celadon Local 21. Later I found out it was indeed broadcasted from the town of Caledon, Ontario, a town that's very close to my city.
Here's a crust too thick.
The shows I saw on Caledon 21 looked poorly made, and I never understood what was going on in them half of the time. However, as I grew up, every time I thought of that channel, I realized more and more how messed up the show really were, and I asked myself, what the fuck what was I watching? The following is a list of shows and episodes I remember seeing on Caledon 21. How I remember such details even disturbs me, but I guess things like this stands out in your mind for a while. The channel the channel only ran a few shows probably because it was only operational between 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. April 1999. Mr. Bear's Cellar, Episode 12. Very sketchy name if you were to look at it nowadays. The, the show featured the guy wearing a bear mascot costume who would get a new visitor into his cellar every day. It was always a kid. The show was filmed in a camcorder and not a very good one either. The police asked me a lot of questions about this show. This episode started with Mr. Bear sitting at a table playing checkers by himself. He sat there playing for a little bit until there was a knocking at the door. The camera was then looking up at the stairs. At the door, there was another knock. Mr. Bears climbed the stairs and opened the door to reveal two young children. One was a boy about my age, and the other was a girl who looked about eight. About eight. Mr. Bears danced in delight and then started talking to the kids. I couldn't hear any of them that well. I remember Mr. Bears then let the kids into the cellar, which was quite dark, only lit by a small oil lamp on the table. I can't really remember that much more except him singing a song which I couldn't hear too well either. Probably because of that large bear mask, the episode ended with them playing hide and seek with the kids hiding in a closet and Mr. Bear's counting. May 1999. Soup and Spoon. I don't think this was even a show. I think it was more of a special movie thing. All I know is I stopped watching Caledon 21 for a while because I thought this was a show was I thought this show was too stupid, especially since Pokemon now came on at 4:30 and 5. I don't remember much about this, but it showed a can of soup and a spoon both attached to string swinging around and forth as if someone was holding them and dangling them in front of the camera. Interestingly enough, the show was shot in a basement, which would look like the one that's used in a Mr. Bear cellar. Like I said, I can't remember much. The only thing I can remember clearly was the end. The entire the entire thing was only half an hour and just included stuff I found stupid, such as Spoon chasing the soup around trying to eat him. The ending showed a table and about 7 kids sitting around it, which with the bowl of soup in front of them. They were sitting and looking at the camera, but with confused, almost frightening faces. The cameraman then held the can of soup in front of the kids and said, "Spoon's ready," and then it just stopped. July 1999. It was summer and I hadn't watched Channel 21 for a while until one day when I slept over a friend's house and I decided to check it out again. My friend had gotten a TV in his room for his 6th birthday. So we stayed up very late. For us, 9:30 was very late and watched TV. That's when I remembered Channel 21 and brought it up to my friend. We decided to see if it was on, and to our surprise, it was. They must have changed the broadcasting time. Let me get some. I'll get water. Hydrate. Mr. Bear's Cellar, episode 23. This episode was entertaining for my friend and me, mainly because they had swearing. However, now when I think of this episode, I realize something was definitely wrong when it was filming. The episode started with the camera on its side, while it was facing Mr. Bears, who was walking upstairs to the cellar door. The camera then blacked out for about a second before fading in black upright and facing Mr. Bears. There was also another kid talking to him, but this kid looked about 11 or 12. We was talking to Mr. Bears for a while, but I couldn't hear well. Again with the crappy camcorder until the kid started raising his voice. The kid was saying how it was late and his sister had to go home. You could also hear more voices in the background. I remember Mr. Bears clearly say, "Get the fuck out! You're not invited," with the deep voice muffled in the bear's mask. I remembered my friend and I looked at each other and laughing at the mention of the forbidden F word. But the episode got weirder as the kid. Began climbing the stairs before turning around and saying how he was going to call the police. Mr. Bears began breaking into a run towards the kid, who started screaming and running as well. The camera then cuts out then as at the end of the episode. The channel then turned to a static shortly after. August 1999. I didn't want to watch Channel 21 after that. In August, I grew more curious to see Mr. Bear's cellar for some reason though. The last episode I saw of Mr. Bear's was weird and had swearing, which also made me think that this show was meant for teenagers. Nonetheless, I flipped into Channel 21 when my dad was busy. Mr. Bear's Cellar, episode 28. Apparently, this episode had been playing the entire month of August. It was studied a lot by the police. The entire episode was just Mr. Bear sitting in a chair talking to the audience. Hello, kids. Do you want to visit my cellar? If you do, please write down a letter to this address. The screen then switched to a white screen with the multicolored letters reading the address. That was what remained for the rest of the episode. This repeated for 5 hours every day until September came. And guess what I actually did? I sent Mr. Bears, or whatever the sick bastard who betrayed him as a letter. I did it out of curiosity mostly. My dad was okay with it because he thought it was a legit kids show. But then again, he never saw anything of what was on Channel 21, so I wrote a letter using my best writing possible. I guess I just said how I wanted to meet Mr. Bears, so my dad sent the letter to the address. Mr. Bears said on the show it stayed on all day anyways for some reason. It took about a week to get a response, which I was surprised I did. I still have the letter I received on August 15, 1999. The letter read, Dear Elliot, thank you so much for your letter. I would love to have you in your cellar. In my, what? Dear Elliot, thank you ever so much for your letter. I would love to have you in my cellar. We play games, watch movies, and go fire camping in the middle of the woods. Come to my house at police cuts out the address, Caledon, uh, Ontario, Canada. I look very forward to having fun with you. Love, Mr. Bears. I cannot believe my dad never found this sketchy because he actually took me to the house, and then that's when the police came, invaded those endless questions, those pictures of terrified kids, the woods. That brings me to why I'm writing this vlog. The Psycho and his friends did some fucked up shit back then. And now it seems he's trying to get back into contact with me again. The entire police thing is coming back. That has brought 1999 back to me. Over a decade later, it has happened again. Update. November 14th, 2009. People have been emailing me, asking me what exactly happened in 1999. I will get that. those weird TV shows I was watching apparently were meant to attract kids to Mr. Bear's house, but Mr. Bear's did shock the entire town. My dad actually drove me to Caledon along with the address Mr. Bears left on the letter. The house was actually on the outskirts of town, in the open farmlands. I still remember the house. It took It looked like an older farmhouse that looked to have been built in the early 1990s. The windows were all boarded up, and the house looked in a state of disrepair. As we all looked in the house, I remember my dad checked the address over and over again, and looking at the house in disbelief, then looking at the door open. I expected I expected Mr. Bears to be at the door, but when I surprised to see the police officer emerge from the cracking doorways, the officer began talking to my dad, and I quickly asked if that was Mr. Bear's house. The officer's face cringed slightly, and he muffled, "Oh God," or something like that. He started talking quietly to my dad, so I couldn't hear. Although my dad could talk, could my dad told me to go to the car anyways. Then we just went home. My dad was quiet the whole time, the whole the whole way home. I felt something strange had happened. My dad never told me that what happened for a while. I forgot about it anyways too. Channel 21 no longer came on, and when I asked about it, my dad would never acknowledge its existence. I think it was when I was 13 where I learned the truth. I remember Channel 21 one day, and I asked my dad about it. I guess he finally decided I should hear the truth. Caledon Local 21 was a local TV show that ran from October 1997 to August 1999 in the Peel regions of Ontario. The entire channel was made from a house in Caledon, the one I visited, and ran by a man who was not really known by anyone in the town. The channel was only available to older TVs because the signal was one only picked up by the rabbit ears, weaker, weaker frequencies. The man created all the shows to the channels, all of which were kids' shows. He was Mr. Bears and was the mysterious cameraman. The real reason he created the show, the channel, was more disturbing than what was originally thought, as you might have already guessed. He kidnapped kids and held them into a cellar. But while most people thought it was a serial child molester, he really wanted to use the kids for another purpose. The day I arrived, the man had left the house the night before, the day before the police went in for their investigations. I wasn't the one who was watching. I wasn't the only one who was watching. Update: December 2nd, 29. Sorry for not answering any questions for so long. I haven't accessed my email account for some time I anyways, let me finally set things straight about what I know. Back in October I visited the house previously owned by the man who ran Caledon Local 21. Two women lived there, operating a daycare business. How ironic. Now to answer the questions you guys emailed to me. Who else watched Caledon 21? I know another people who watched it for sure, including those kids who wind up at Mr. Bear's house. After some Google research, I found a few people on Neo Secret forums who were discussing shows from Caledon 21. They talked about the two shows I watched, but also another two shows I had never seen before. A user named I Am Real Life seemed to know all the shows that were broadcast on Channel 21. Here are the two I have seen, I have never heard of. Update January 14th, 2010. I'm sorry I haven't posted anything for a while. I kind of lost interest in this blog since I had a standstill while looking for more information about the identity of the owner of Caledon 21. However, a few weeks ago I struck gold. I found some answers surprisingly from the father of a kid I used to babysit. He lives just across from my street, and I used to look after his kids when they were younger. He currently doesn't have a job either. He used to live near the woods outside Caledon and witness the owner's activities in the woods. His name is Anthony Paulo. When he lived in a small thing bungalow outside the woods, he would often venture in to smoke a joint of marijuana or two before returning to his work as a wood craftsman. Paulo described something he would hear voices of children coming from the deeper within the woods as well as a glowing light off the distance. Paulo told me those events started in late 1997. This was around the time Caledon 21 began airing. He apparently became annoyed by this happening every once in a while and actually went to investigate. Paulo then describes what the whole scene looked like when he got there. There was a group of kids, he said about ages of 13 to 17 and ages of 5 to 12, gathered around a large fire pit, then fire, burning a fire with them as a single adult. Paulo talked to them. Paulo talked to the man, nothing his unusual unkept appearance of a crack addict, as well as his constant twitching, and asked what he was doing in the forest with children. The man said they were on a camping trip, something they did frequently. Paulo, not suspecting anything, Caledon was one of the lowest crime rates in Canada, simply left at that and told them to be quieter. Paulo then paused for a while before telling me that they never became quieter. In fact, sometimes he heard loud chanting from the forest in an unknown language. He didn't bother meeting with the man again, as he was moving anyways. I told Paulo that the man was probably the owner of Caledon 21, but he doubted it, as he heard the man was moving to Pickering, Pickering by several other residents near the area. Here's what I know now. The man who would take kids into the woods regularly for camping. The fire pit Paul describes may be a whole body of children they were found in. The children Paulo saw were probably the children Paulo saw are probably the ones found dead. The man moved to a city called Pickering, a small city east of Toronto. I will discuss this with my dad's friend, an ex-cop, and see if this matches anything the police know about the man. I also want to see if he has any other knowledge of what was aired on Caledon 21. Update February 10, 2010. Good job, guys. I talked to my dad's friend, and he disclosed a lot of the information for me. At first, I asked if the police had any information on the man who ran Caledon 21. He replied that he have only had the same leads for years and never found a suspect. However, the Peel Regional Police do have some of the tapes found in the house Caledon 21 was broadcasted from. He took me over so I could watch a few. I guess I haven't said much about him yet. My dad's friend's name is Mitchell Wilson. A pretty nice guy. He he seems to understand my thirst for knowledge on what happened during the late 90s in that house. He feels it was wrong that my dad went so long without telling me much. He took me to the Davis Road Police Station. If you don't know, it's the largest station in Caledon and one of the largest within the Peel Regions itself. Which of the main stations around Peel have some of the tapes. I was able to watch all of the footage of Davis Road Station has. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to take any of the tapes home for obvious reasons. Paint with the Snow, Episode 10, Garbage Thrown Away. Paint with the Snow. Uh, hey, are you guys still here? Hey guys, do you guys want me to stop? Alright, I continue reading. Pain with the Soul. Episode 10, Garbage Thrown Away. Pain with the Soul was one of the shows that I Am Real Life and Segi92 discussed on Neo Seeker. I told the police about this and they informed me that 12 episodes of the show were made and broadcasted between December 5th, 1997 and January 8th, 1998. Exactly as I Am Real Life in Segi92 described. Excuse me. Dragon Breath. The episode opened with the cameraman's wandering around in a forest. It appeared to be during the evening as it seemed the sun was setting. The cameraman walked along the path until he got to an area where there was a lot of garbage lying in the leaves. The camera looked around at the various wrappers, bottles, bags, and boxes, making sure each item got a few seconds of screen time. The camera then focused on a single area before the man spoke. I recall he spoke in a very timid, quiet voice, and I swear I heard it somewhere else before, like on another Caledon 21 show. I couldn't bear hearing what he was saying, but I could barely hear what he was saying, but he mainly talked about how humans are garbage or something like that. Had to do with saving ourselves by cleaning up the garbage. Plus, it actually sounded really stupid, but still a feeling of dread came over me. I mean, that force was possibly where those bodies were found, right? Mr. Barris Silver, episode 25. When the when the police administrator brought this tape in, I actually said, "Ooh, shit," and chuckled a bit loud. Of course, I got stares from the staff, but Wilson explained to them about my little experience with Mr. Beard and how I still kept the letters he sent me, like the previous episodes. This one included a guy wearing a bear mascot costume. The episode begins with Mr. Bears waddling over his to cellar to his cellar door with a bottle of orange juice in his paws. On the ground were 16 shot glasses, was well as small as bottle that contained as unknown liquid. Mr. Bears poured an equal amount of orange juice into each glass before opening the smaller bottle and disposing one drop into the glasses. Mr. Bears then went off camera. There was some minor sounds, which was shuffling, and then Mr. Bears emerged from behind the camera's location. The kid all looked rather content, except for this one, who had visible bruises on his face, and unlike the other kids, he had more fearful expression. He also looked about 11 or 12, which caused me to recognize him. He was the kid who had asked about his sister and subsequently met an unknown fate at the end of episode 23. That was that one episode I watched during July 1999. When I told the administrator this, he confirmed it was the same kid he was also featured in episode 24, an episode that only aired once at 3. In July 1999, the police still have not found the tapes. Mr. Bears then broke into song singing about the citrus fruits and how good vitamin C was for you. I could barely hear the lyrics as they were muffled by Mr. Bear's mask. The kids all drank the juice as the one from episode 23, doing it rather reluctantly, and as the episode ended. After viewing the tapes in possession of the Davis Roads police station, I'm satisfied, but only temporarily. I still want to know the full story. The police just keep giving me the same crap about the creator of Caledon 21 being a fetishist pedophile, as well as an apparent cultist. I will sign off for now. Get into university first and get information later. Hopefully, I will get back into this vlog as soon as possible. Update May 8th, 2010. Last month, I finally got my G2 license in Ontario, Canada. This allows you to drive in a car by yourself as well as some passengers after 6 months. I, of course, took advantage of this and drove into Caledon for a little Sunday drive. Since I haven't updated this vlog in a while, I figured I might as well visit the house where the infamous channel of my childhood was located. The house looked different when I last saw it in October. The place was no longer used as a daycare and just sat there abandoned. However, it did have a for sale sign showing that someone still owned it, wanting to get rid of it. The abandoned house drew fuzzy memories into my mind. For that day my dad took me to visit Mr. Bears, a feeling of dread came upon me. What happened to the children while they were living in the house? I walked up to the steps in front of the door and peered through the window inside. I could see nearly empty hallways as a few boxes at the end. No, I haven't wrote my own creepypastas, but I would like to someday. At the end of the hallway, and the right was an open doorway, presumably leading to the kitchen. To the left were two doors, both apparently leading to the rooms visibly through the windows outside. I wondered where the cellar entrance was located and whether had been sealed. I walked around to the of the house and found my answer. Two wooden doors lying at an almost flat angle were padlocked shut. This had to lead to the cellar. Not wanting to hang around, you cannot imagine what was going through my mind. At the same time, I departed. Behind the house, the empty fields continued on until it reached a dense forest that lined the horizons. I wondered if that was the forest where the bodies of the children were found. I thought to myself, "Bucket," and proceeded to walk across fields behind the houses into the forest. The forest was oddly quiet, save for the few periodic sounds of the woodpeckers drilling into the distant trees. I cautiously made my way through deeper of the woods, not really caring about the fact that I had no idea where I was going. I didn't know how to explain it, but it felt like there was something I had to find. I came to a thinner part of the woods and find a small house in the distance. Polo houses. Polo house crossed my mind, and I wondered if one of those homes had belonged to him. I heard a small clearing in which I neared a small clearing in which I could see three adequate, adequately small, adequately sized logs gathered around a black sheared area, showing a small fire had been lit there recently. "Hey, get the fuck out of our fort." Those words nearly gave me a heart attack. I turned to my left and saw those two dorky clothes people running towards me, and my initial thoughts was to run. However, they came closer as I saw they were really just kids in their early teens, possibly 13 or 14, maybe even 12. As they approached me, they realized my size as well. I'm 6'1", while they couldn't have been no bigger than 6'8". Why might not have been 5'7". We said get the fuck we said get the fuck out. The larger one, who has been wearing a Slipknot shirt, and half-heartedly I stood my ground and shrugged. The shorter one, who has wearing a Metallica shirt, swung out a butterfly knife and to my held it to my direction. "No, you wouldn't want to," I said in my deep, serious tone, trying to sound as badass as possible. I put out my cell phone. The two kids who drew, and one of and one in the Metallica shirt, putting away the knife. "Look, dude, we don't like people in our fort, so could you just go?" One of the Slipknot shirt said. The one in the Slipknot shirt, obviously intimidated. I had no business in the forest anyways, so I uttered out a simple "fine" and turned before I realized I had a great opportunity. "Did either of you hear a guy who murdered a bunch of kids in those woods about 13 years ago?" I asked the kids. The two looked to each other in confusion before the one who's wearing the Metallica shirt answered, "Yeah, everyone knows about that guy. He said to me if I were stupid." The kid in the Slipknot shirt continued, "He still lives around here, in the storm drain. My big brother's friend said he saw him in the bear costume once, wandering around the forest at night." My instinct told me that he was probably a this was probably a lie, and the owner of Caledon 21 is probably long gone, only existing as a folklore in this smaller, isolated community. However, as a human, this thought of the mysterious unknown sparks interest within, and where, as the storm drained, I ask, this just out of curiosity. I I don't actually believe the kid's story. The kid in the Metallica shirt stared at me for a few moments. This kid seemingly full of annoyance yet curiosity for me. "You're not from here around here, are you? Why did you even come here?" "No, I did admit I was slightly startled by the nature of the question. However, I figured I might as well explain why I was there, just in case people mistook my intentions. I told the two kids about my experience with the man in the Caledon Local 21, and that I had to come to maybe seek out some sort of closure, even although even I wasn't exactly sure. The kids seemingly familiar with the channel as they smiled and looked at each other when I mentioned it. They also became more interesting and understanding, and I gave them a detailed description on how to get to the storm drain. Shortly after, I decided to just turn around uh, the way I came and head back to the house, leaving the kids at their fort. But now you're probably wondering why I left out much detail about the kids told left out the details about what the kids told me just now. It is because I'm choosing to conclude what I just have gathered. Thank you, Wilson. Here are what the kids told me in detail. The storm drain lies ahead of the kids' fort, the same direction I was heading. The drain ends in the small river where access water is drained out near where small small playgrounds. The kid told me people rarely use it. The man supposedly lived in the large pipe that rainwater drains out of people. I've seen him, although always either wearing a bear mask or the mask in a full body bear costume. Nope, I do not believe this is true. In fact, simply a myth made by the residents of Caledon. The story does not seem plausible in any way. Why did not why did no one call the police? Didn't this guy look suspicious? And another question like those leave stories invalid. I may not visit the storm drain, not because I believe the story, but because I want an excuse to visit Caledon again. So this one doesn't die with no more tapes to watch. I don't know what to talk about anymore. I'm reading a scary story if anyone wants to know. Thanks for continuing to support me and my blog. I know many are looking forward to more information. Up- I'm currently reading 1999. Excuse me. During the year 1999, and I will do my best to continue my research into the topic Elliot out. I'm gonna read that part again. Thank you for continuing to support me and my blog. I know many of you are looking forward to more information about what happened in Caledon during the year 1999, and I will do my best to continue my research into the topic Elliot out. Update October 7, 2010. Well, nearly 5 months since I last updated. I'm guessing everyone pretty much thinks I'm dead right now. Thankfully, I'm not. But in all seriousness, I really have been busy those past few months. In a blog about something that could have been killed me as a kid is a little low in my current priority list. As of now, I'm living in Waterloo, Ontario, attending the University of Waterloo, Waterloo, for computer engineering. Yeah, I'm a keener, as you can imagine. Engineering is no walk in the park, so obviously I nearly forget about this vlog. But as you can see now, I'm back. I told you this is a long story, guys. And thank you. I remember to visit the storm drain. The, the kids from the Caledon. Okay. I remembered to visit the storm drain as the kid from the Caledon Forest told me about it. Was out in the clearing between the wooded areas near, nearby a marsh. Unfortunately, I found absolutely nothing, save for turtle that retreated into its built-in home. When it saw me, I snapped some pictures of the pipe, which I have posted as well. Also, let me tell you, it was not a storm drain like they said it was. What I saw was a simple pipe, possibly to channel the excess water from the marsh when I returned from Caledon. However, I simply kept putting off, off uploading everything until I forget about my vlog. It was just didn't seem important anymore. Please forgive me. It wasn't until only recently that I'm now interested in my case again. Oh, September 10th, I received an email from this email user. Returnhib at hotmail.com. Funny, am I right? Well, it gets better. I'm going to copy and paste this exact email this guy sends me. Dear Elliot, my dear boy, you sent this story. You see, this story may or may not be true, but it could happen. There were many slots for airtime. If you have money, you can have a public access TV channel. Some public access channels share airtime, like E- EWTN, religious channel based out of Michigan that shows Catholic-based programming, but during off-air hours, have independent shows or just blue screen. Cable networks have empty channels available for rent space. So the scenario for of a pedo renting a channel for on basic TV is not far-fetched at all. However, public access TV is widely received and can be termed intimidated at all times. Those are the rules of the United States. Not all, not for Canada where the stories took place. So if this happens in the US, the pedos would be tracked and arrested immediately. Yes, this story could happen, but it is unlikely. 100 fuzzies hugs the bears. Now, obviously, this letter is fake and sounds almost corrupted, but I still would like to thank whoever sent it, although this could use some English lessons. Who just reading this letter creeped me out, but because of it, I am now full of full of this new interest to continue my vlog. I guess it's just funny trying to pursue the mysteries I always question. Now my roommate knows about all of this. He thought the letters were real and actually seemed more scared than I was for for a second, but then I shrugged it off. So he did too. I mean, what are the chances of this being real? How would Mr. Bears know all all this about public access TV and about when I went to Caledon on all those occasions? More or less, know my emails or me still be interested in his seller. Huh. I'm going to send a reply to return the hub. Whoa, just looking at this email address, you can tell someone wanted to freak me out. It didn't really work though. Although to whomever you are, thank you for sparking my interest back into my full matters. Maybe I can find out more about what happened to Mr. Bears, hopefully because although I didn't buy the email, a part of me still feels anxious thanks to all those who are still following me and have become an avid fan. You are also why I am choosing to continue this. Thanks, guys. Update November 7th, 2010. Whoa, I can't believe this vlog hasn't been deleted yet. I haven't posted anything for so long. I I have my reasons and I rather not discuss them just yet. It it has been a rather dramatic year for me. Some of you were right. I shouldn't have gone back trying to relieve the mysterious mysteries of my channel, but I couldn't resist it. It was been over a year since my last post, and a lot has happened. Let's recap where I'm I'm at right now. Let's regard to the whole Mr. Bears incident. Return to the hub at hotmail.com is no longer in use. I tried replying to the email, but I got no reply. I tried again in a while in a while back. Still no reply. I actually moved up to Ottawa, capital of Canada, and those who don't know, for university. So I haven't been back to Caledon or back home in the Peel regions for a while. I had my reasons for leaving, as you could guess why. I had to make the new email account because people keep prank mailing me pretending to be Mr. Bears. Thanks a lot, guys. Not. Why have I ventured back into this vlog? Mitchell Wilson remembered my dad's ex-cop friend gave me a phone call and on October 23 about a tape that has found in a bunch of Bronx Brunkton Public Library. Brunkton is my hometown. In case you haven't picked up on that, he claimed that he isn't allowed to discuss the contents of the tapes with me, as it is still in evidence, but he asked me to come check it out when I returned home. That tape got the gears grinding again because we all know that it was on the last tape I saw. I can only imagine what can happen when I'm guessing it must have something to do with Caledon 21. Guessing I was just wanting to say I'm continuing this vlog and just thanking for everyone who still follows it. I don't know when my next entry will be, but when I see what see that tape, I'll write what I find. I don't know what to expect, but the idea of seeing another tape has gotten me interested in the home mysteries all over again. Elliot. Update January 21st, 2011. It has been a long year for me. University has been giving me a usual sleepless night, especially since I transferred to Ottawa, which is the place of the party, sarcasm. But now I'm back home with my dad in Brumpston, the town I grew up in. I got home on the 18th of December and have been visiting the friends and family, or at least that's what I'd rather have done. Now the festive holidays cheer that I usually have at the time of the month has absent. To answer the hundreds of emails and comments I got, yes, I did see the tapes that my dad's friends, Mitchell Wilson, promised to show me. Those tapes, however, act as a curse. I wanted to know more, yet I want to forget everything I could and helped it. I needed to see those tapes, not only for myself, but for all of you guys who are just intrigued as I am by the ominous man in the bear suit. Excuse me. From my past, however, after viewing those tapes, I feel that pit of dread deep inside me once again. That feeling where I know that all those kids in those videos are dead, that I couldn't have been one of the that I could have been one of those kids, and that humanity is dark place. If you haven't skipped those paragraphs and the juicier details below. Thank you for listening to my rambling. On January 1st, I called Mitchell Wilson and asked if there was a time where I could come by and visit the tapes. Things were pretty slow in the station because of the snowstorm, so he said I could come down anytime that day. The tapes were located at the branch not too far from me, so I braved the slushy roads and terrible Brumpston drivers and made my way to the Peel Region Police Station located in the something city. Can't pronounce that word. Bro. Bromelia City Center. I met Wilson at the front desk and where he then led me to the second floor and into the small office. He instructed me to have a seat and wait until he went and got the tapes before leaving the office. He turned to me and said, I know you're curious, but are you sure you want to do this? Of course I did, or at least thought so. Besides, Wilson's friend had pulled a lot of strings to get me into there, and I didn't want to waste the opportunity. This particular station had two tapes in hand. I was I was only able to watch a few minutes of footage, however, because the second tape was apparently too damaged to be played in a VCR. Mr. Bear's Cellar, Episode 30. Mr. Bear's never ceases to disturb me, especially after what almost happened when I was younger. This episode took place outside up in the forest at dusk, making it slightly hard to see, especially considering the quality of the film, a trademark of anything from Caledon 21. The episode started and the camera again held in the paw of Mr. Burns, aiming at himself. The bear mask looks more sinister in the shadows of the trees. The unmistakable muffled voice spoke up. Hello, children. Today I will be doing a wonderful thing for my friends. I will be delivering them to a faraway land where they will be surely be happy. Mr. Bears turned the camera around to show ATV, which with an attached trailer, but what stood out the most was the trailer contains seven motionless children lying side by side. T. This here is the first load, but more will be on their way soon. Mr. Bears turned around and pointed the camera at a large bare-load tarp spread on the ground. He picked up the tarp up, revealing a large hole that must have been at least 12, 12 feet deep and maybe about 15 feet wide. The rest of the episode consisted of Mr. Bears taking each of the kids, dropping them into the hole. I asked Wilson if they were dead to each other, which they shook his head and replied, not yet. Soon all the kids were in the pit, some were even awkward positions due to them even being tossed in, but they remain unconscious. The vitamin C will surely help those children in the great journey they await them. Mr. Bear mentioned as he planned the camera towards multiple bottles of gasoline toward besides a bush. The camera zoomed into the bottles as Mr. Bears hummed before the episode ended. Wilson revealed to me that those were 7 of the 16 victims found burnt in a crisp. The gasoline is what the man playing Mr. Bears used to light on fire. A pit full of burning children. Who the fuck would do that? Who the fuck would do that? That feeling of dread found him once again when I realized what I have been when I realized that I could have been one of those kids. Wilson then explained to me that he had previously led the other tapes. Wilson then explained to me that he had previously lied the other tapes confiscated by Vermilion Police Branch didn't indeed work and contained the filming of the actual burning. However, he felt that I wouldn't able to handle the disturbing graphic nature of the episode. And but you know what? And you know what? Maybe I can't. I don't even know what no. I don't even want to see it. I'm satisfied for now. But I just need some time to get myself together. The thing is, the man who ran Caledon 21 is still out there. More to come soon, Elliot. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Elliot. Elliot was a clever boy who loved playing with his friends. One day, he watched a lovely television show about a bear and his children friends. The children loved helping each other, other, other such children should. But they also loved the bear. The bear loved the children since the children were so good at helping him and the fallen angel. The children and the bear wanted to play together forever, and he helped the angel friends. But the fallen angel needed even more help, so the children had to give the ultimate sacrifice. Because that's what friends do, Elliot. They help each other. Help us, Elliot. Friend with us, Elliot. I want you, Elliot. He wants you, Elliot. Come back, Elliot. Come back to my cellar. Pretty please, with sugar and icing on top. Mr. Bears. Update. April 5, 2011. I want to update more. I truly did. However, certain circumstances had turned me off. The whole Caledon 21 thing. I since then had hundreds of emails about my blog, and I was even in contact with a magazine about my story. But now is the time to come clean to everyone. Where have I been for an entire year? The story of Pandora's box is true, and I opened it. I opened it when I watched the second tape in the possession of the Bromelia Police Branch. The other subject I like to address is the number of fake emails I've been getting from the people claiming to be Mr. Bears. Plus talks about that second tape, as that is what traumatized me into stopping my research temporarily. After a few weeks of playing silent, I decided to keep asking Michelle's Wilson if I could view that infamous second tape. He could talk about it. I don't know why. I just felt that viewing that tape could give me some closure. Wilson was obviously reluctant to show me, but I was persistent. He gave me an offer if I was still interested. In the time I was 20, he would show me the tapes. Not being able to do much else, I was just playing waiting game. By the time I was By the time my 20th birthday rolled around, I was definitely still interested in viewing the tapes. I gave Wilson a call, during which he admitted that he had hoped that I would forget about asking him again. But I was not taking no for an answer. You really don't need to see it. He kept telling me that I did not need to see it. Had I had to at this point. Sure enough, he invited me to Camellia Branch one Monday afternoon, having watched every Psalm film and video of animal slaughterhouses in my epic class. I was sure I would be able to handle whatever tape he could throw at me. How naive I was. Mr. Bear Sailor, episode 31, when Wilson went to collect the tapes from evidence. The officer in charge of the room shook his head at me, his face saying, "What are you doing?" Wilson explained that the tapes included the last known episode of Mr. Bear's Cellar. I rightly assumed that I would be seeing this fate of the children and began to feel a sense of dread. Shapes dancing around the darkness. A faint glow of light was present in the right side of the screen. There wasn't any apparent audio. Appeared to be a windy night, yet the trees weren't making any noise. Slowly the camera began to pan towards the glow, revealing smoke rising from the hole with the tapes of flames peeking over the top. Wilson paused at this point. "Are you sure you want to see this?" he asked me. I insisted on this, even though a voice in my head was telling me not to. The video continued. The cameraman moved towards the hole, showing a pit of fire. This was the hole that I was seeing in the previous episode. Only this time it was filled with shapes. I could see shapes moving around, fluttering, flail, flailing, some motionless. I knew perfectly well what they were. The cameraman began to adjust the light, and burning flesh and red black, a blur of surreal moment, moment and color. I wish I could forget what I saw, but you can't forget a scene like this. This was not a horror film. This is not a horror film. This is reality. Human beings were being killed in a horrifying way. That I could have been potentially met. The video suddenly cuts to dawn, the camera now positioned further away from the hole. The fire was out, however there was still smoke rising up. A fire was up ahead. I recognized it right away. The Mr. Bear suit was laid out in the ground, empty. It looked just as unnerving. The suit was laid out in the shape of a cross. The cameraman did a leap around the suit, treating it like it's a treasure artifact. Placed at the head of the suit was a sign in bold red letters. INR was printed in the cameraman's. The cameraman moved back into the end of the suit, zooming in to the bear's face. The episode finally ended. I was speechless. I was speechless. It was like a dream. Like you can find a lot of terrifying things in the internet. But I had never seen anything like this. Wilson asked if I was only in, and I replied with a shaky yes. Yeah, read that part again. I was speechless, and I was speechless. It was like a dream. You can only find a lot of terrifying things on the internet, but I had never seen anything like this. Wilson asked if I was okay, and I replied with shake, shaky yes. I assured him as we left that I was fine and that the video gave me some closure over the whole incident. He didn't seem too confident in me, but he left it at that. He was right, though. I had nightmares for weeks. I gave up. I didn't care about the whole thing anymore. A sick man burned a bunch of kids alive, attracting them into a fake kids TV show. I couldn't have been one of those one of his victims. Yet I'm still here. I suppose I should be grateful, but I feel guilty. I'm still here only by pure luck. 10 months later, I'm back, but now I need to address something else. My email, my emails, my email has been flooded with messages. Some people ask me ask more details. Some ask if I can upload the tapes, and some people email me claiming to be Mr. Bear's first. I cannot get the tapes uploaded as they're A in in police possession as evidence, and B I have no idea how to get transferred VHS into a computer. As for people pretending to be Mr. Bears, you're not fooling me. When you have dozens of people pretending to be the same person, it doesn't work. I seen I even seen a fake Caledon 21 YouTube channel which is cute but still not real. Even more annoying is the fact that someone hacked into my account and just put up some demented poem about me in this blog. I leave it in this entry about I'll leave it in this entry about this one. Just to see just to show you guys I have contacted my webmaster about this entry and was told that it was posted on Halloween. Ooh, spooky. Attached to the email, paint with B, paints with B at AOL.com, which I assume is another joke email. I'm over I'm over episode 31 now. The image of what I saw will stick with me for a while, but I want to do one last hurrah. I will get into contact with Michelle Wilson again and hope hopefully get set up with the tapes in possession of the other Pill police branch. I will try to update you guys later as soon as I can. I'm sure that this won't take as long again. Thank you to everyone who still reads this. Elliot. And this is That's the end of the story. That's the end of the story. Yay. What do you guys think? Pew. That was a long story. Yep, then it's been fun reading creepypastas with you guys. Hope you enjoy. I always wanted to do this, reading creepypastas. Reading creepypastas on YouTube. Yeah, and it's kind of interesting, cool to be mixing creepypastas and VTubing together. So that's what I did. That's what I want to try doing more. Oh, thank you, C. Yeah, those are my favorite stories. I'm about to hit the 3 hour mark now. You're welcome. The Poke Kid one. Yeah, I hope you catch up too. This is my first stream actually. I'm gonna be doing more of these type of streams. Now, 3 hour mark is passed. I'm gonna go now. See ya.